So my name is Kevin Frisch, the Frisch Marionette Company out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm here at the Laurel County Library today performing my variety show. And I've got about 10 shows in my rep right now, but this is the one we're doing today. And started Frisch Marionettes back in end of 1995, and I've been doing that full time. Before that, I was working for a company in Brooklyn, New York called the Puppet Works, and their history goes back to another company named Niccolo. And the predecessor of that was Suzari Marionettes, and that was founded, I think, around 1932.
So what sparked your interest in this industry?
Well, I come from an art background, and then later in high school I was into acting, and I was also into stage crew, played musical instruments, and this sort of incorporates everything I like. Now, as a child, I was really interested in puppets. People my age grew up with Sid and Marty Krofft on the Saturdays, and in Cincinnati we had a local celebrity, Larry Smith and his puppets, and so people my age were really I was really saturated with puppets. I saw the first Sesame Street in '69, and so I always had an interest in it. I never once thought I'd make it a career, but when I had moved to New York in about 1986, and about 21 years old, and I had just moved to New York just to move to New York, and I was working a sales job. And then one day during lunch I just made some phone calls, and I'd been reading up on puppetry, and I was invited to a puppetry guild meeting in New York, and that's where I met Nick Coppola, who is one of the people I'd read about. I knew he did marionettes, and I was really interested in the marionettes, so I gravitated towards him. And about a couple months later he invited me out to see a show, and I found myself in the middle of an interview. I didn't go there to be interviewed, but I found myself in the middle of an interview and took him up on it.
So what makes a show come to life for you?
What makes a show come to life for me, or if it's coming to life for the audience, basically if they're buying into the puppet, and that. Now there's a whole lot that goes into the structure of a show, or even the bits that I'm doing today. You really have to map it out and you're telling a little mini story, even though there's no words in today's show. It's all structured to keep the interest of the kids. But that's really the thing, is if you can, it's like, I say in my intro that the marionette's like a musical instrument, and a musician is emoting through that musical instrument, right? So the same thing's happening with the puppet, where the puppeteer usually is hidden from view. Today you see me working the marionette, and I think most of the time I'm ignored in favor of the puppet. But and I think when that happens, that's when it comes to life. When people are focused on the puppet and what is that puppet going through, that's really, I think, when it comes to life for the audience.
Your puppets look real lifelike, so do you make your own?
I make all the puppets and the staging, yeah. And I even have a hand in some of the story shows, and I write the scripts for the story shows, and then do some of the lyrics, and then my brother Steve writes original tunes for the bigger shows. But like I said, it sort of incorporates everything I love, the music and the art, and everything comes, and the acting all comes together in this art form, which is why I gravitated towards it. Different people probably get into it for different reasons, but that it incorporates everything I love. And is that what your question was? Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some tips on becoming a good storyteller?
Oh, pay attention to the audience. and really, that's a great question. I'm not schooled, I'm not educated at a higher level in that field, or even in theater, but I understand sort of the mechanics of what you do. I think when a story you want to set up, you want to get people emotionally attached. I mean, here in a nutshell, you get people emotionally attached to the characters, then you throw a problem at them, and you spend the rest of the hour solving the problem. And that, in essence, is what the story is. And you've got the peaks and valleys, and just trying to. You really have to have a good timing sense too, to know when you might be losing the crowd. Which is why we're going to the next question, because I think we might be doing it now. No, I'm just kidding. See what I did there? But yeah, and that's it. You just have to keep throwing new information at the audience and meter it out. I think that's important.
So what would you say are some of your accomplishments and how have they shaped you into who you are now?
Oh boy. Accomplishment, I think more than what shaped me more than accomplishments or some of the influence I had growing up. You know, like I said, the puppets. I was a big Jerry Lewis fan and Dick Van Dyke, and I love that sort of that dry sense of humor. The puppets just always captivated me. They're just sort of like this another reality. And the biggest thing that probably shaped the trajectory of my life would be that meeting with Nick, you know, and him bringing me on board at Puppet Works. So I got into puppets, and I've, 1986 to now. So here we are, 2013. I'm still doing it. I still feel like I'm just getting started too.